Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome back inside The Lock Shop. Nielson and Huss back with you once again. Thursday episode, Friday episodes coming your way. We got match play, we got March Madness, we got NHL action, huge slate tonight. Just 2 games last night. Huss, you would have been sleeping when Connor McDavid scored his 60th, right?
Yeah, come on. As if I was, that was a pretty interesting game. I'll say this about the Coyotes, and we saw them the night before in Winnipeg. For a team that is so bereft of talent that everyone is written off, they play hard, and they're not an easy out for anybody right now in the National Hockey League. They were 6-0-2 in their last 8 coming into Winnipeg on Tuesday night. And I know there's a lot of teams that have probably seen Arizona on the schedule at the end and think, perfect, there's a free 2 points. That is not the case right now for Arizona. And hey, they made the Oilers work for it. And hey, Connor McDavid, I was surprised he missed the first breakaway, but you don't give a guy like that 2 chances in that quick amount of time to get it done. What was crazy was that Pittsburgh-Colorado game last night, and I know you were on the Avs.
I was on the Avs. Penguins had been struggling, man. Yeah, that was tough.
I had a weird feeling about that game, and again, maybe it was just I was still going back to Tuesday where it was that Dylan Ferguson 48 save effort that prevented the 3-gamer cashing. But Pittsburgh played so well, and they were so all over them for a full 60 minutes. I kind of thought we'd see a really desperate team, and man, were they yesterday. I mean, they carried the play. They had a huge share of the shots in the game last night.
Second period, they were dominant. They kind of took over that game in the second period last night. Yeah. So that was a big one.
I mean, there really is something to be said right now about teams that absolutely need wins and teams that would like to have wins. And the Pittsburgh Penguins are one of those teams that have to have it right now. And they sure showed it last night. But yeah, we got a big slate of games, and we got some picks. We got an exclusive later on in the program. And it was a great start to the match play. I know we'll get to that in a minute. But we did get that Minwoo Lee, Corey Connors parlay in there, and a couple nice starts to our group picks. And play going on right now down in Austin, Texas, as they get into day 2 of the 3-day round robin match.
We're going to get into March Madness here right away with Jake from Coolbet. Huss, have you been dabbling into to March Madness at all?
Well, it's funny. I think I told you this on Monday, but I had neglected to get my bracket in time.
That's right, you did.
And I was going to take Purdue to win the whole thing. And when I saw them lose on, last Friday, I thought that was a sign for me to now go in. And I actually had a pretty good weekend. I hit a 3-gamer right out of the gate. I think I ended up being like 6 of 7. That being said, I'm the first to admit it was all dumb luck because I have not been paying attention to college hoops very much all season long. But I know a guy that has been. I have made a little bit of money on Pat and Jake's exclusives on the college hoops. So, we figured if we're getting into the Sweet 16, we better get the kid on to fill us in on what the heck's going on.
Jake, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
What's going on? It feels like it's been a while. I haven't been here. Like, I just wanted to jump on. I want to talk some college ball. It's a big weekend. Arkansas in the mix again. It's my favorite team. My mom was a Arkansas.
I was gonna say, how did you become an Arkansas fan? Your mom was alum?
My mom's an alum. My grandpa. So it's a family tradition. Go
Razorback blood.
Can't wait.
How's the bracket looking?
Bad. I don't really want to talk about my bracket. I hope we were just going to talk about.
I don't know if anybody really has a good bracket going anymore, man. Like, it's not good.
If you took the chalk, I mean, there's still 2 1s in it, right? Houston and Alabama. Obviously, Kansas had the upset loss to Arkansas. Technically, it was a pretty tight spread, though. And then Purdue, which Huss just talked about. I don't think I have to go any deeper on that. It was pretty embarrassing to see from them, but they were flawed all season, and a team that a lot of people expected to be out early, maybe not as early as the first round, but hey, here we are.
In your opinion, who's been the team that has surprised the most? And it's one thing to kind of get through the first weekend, but a team that not only survived the first weekend, but is really gaining momentum that has the potential to maybe be sticking around at the end of this weekend.
Yeah, listen, I think there's a lot of good teams along those that kind of meet those requirements. Obviously, we have some not necessarily high seeds. I got to say the biggest surprise has probably been Princeton, right? They come out, they beat a number 2 in Arizona, and then they back it up with another nice win where I think they beat Missouri, and Missouri was really never in the game. I had Missouri. I thought, you know what, the magic runs out here for Princeton, but if they go on and make it to the Elite Eight with a win, I believe they play tomorrow. It would be super impressive from a 15 seed. Not that it's not possible. I think we saw St. Peter's do it last year. They were that team that went fairly deep. But yeah, I think Princeton's obviously the easy answer at the 15. I think FAU is a team that people weren't quite expecting, but they picked up a ton of wins this season. It's just all about schedule, right? You don't really know what kind of competition these teams are playing. And then they come out and they pick up some big wins, beat Memphis in a tight one, and then obviously took down Fairleigh Dickinson, which people were pretty mad about. I don't know if you saw the last play in the FAU game there. The guy tried a little 360 dunk when they were up 8, I believe.
Yeah, I did see that, yeah.
Pretty bad sportsmanship, I'd say. And so I think FAU is kind of the bad boys now. We'll see what they can do against Tennessee. They play tonight, so.
Funny you mentioned Princeton. They're the biggest underdog on the board of any of the Sweet 16 matchups, a 10-point underdog to Creighton.
Yeah, it's one of those things where is it too many points? You know, like a lot of these games you're seeing anywhere between 1.5 point spreads to, you know, like 5.5. I think on that Tennessee game.
Yeah.
But then obviously that one's pretty big, and Princeton's proven they can obviously play with the best. They beat an SEC team in the round of 32, and they beat the Pac-12 team in Arizona, who was supposed to be. Some people had them going all the way. So I don't know if I'm touching them outright, but I've been not really too sure on that game in terms of spread. I think I threw Creighton in a little 2-team money line parlay, but I just obviously the Big East has impressed this year. They got 3 teams right now in the Sweet 16. So it's going to be a great weekend here. Obviously tonight, tomorrow, and then Saturday, Sunday for the Elite 8.
Well, what do you like tonight? 4 games tonight. What are you on? What do you like?
Listen, I'm on with my heart, Arkansas. This is what I've been doing with these kind of anywhere from 3 to 5.5 point spreads. I go spread, and then I half it and go money line, like say a half unit. So if I go a unit on the spread, I go half unit on the money line, or if I go whatever, 2 units and 1 unit. So I got Arkansas tonight. Also like Michigan State. I have them money line. I grabbed them earlier in the week when that line came out. I think Izzo in March has just proven that he's clearly can coach with the best of them. Kansas State, don't sleep on them. They've been a great team. This Noel guy they have, Mr. New York City is his Twitter bio. He is he's an unbelievable player. He's one of those, you know, when Stroman was doing the height doesn't measure heart, he's one of those guys. Small guy. You'll see him tonight in that first game. Noel, he is an awesome player, but I think Michigan State gets it done. Sorry, I'm just making sure.
UCLA and Gonzaga tonight. I don't know if you got to lean on that one either way.
Yeah. So that one's, I think that's the highest total on the board. I played it as UCLA money line. I think that was just based on kind of where the money was going. People high on the Zags and kind of still underestimating UCLA, even though they're a 2 seed. They have lost their best.
They're banged up, right? Yeah.
They're banged up. The injuries have been catching up to them, but I don't know. I'm just not sold on the Zags. I had TCU last weekend, and you know, they had Gonzaga there for a bit, but it just felt like, you know, with Timmy and just the veterans that they have, they were able to kind of pull it off against TCU. But I think UCLA as the favorite, I like them. And then I'm not sure about this FAU Tennessee game. I'm an SEC guy. You know, with Arkansas, I always want to imagine the SEC is the best conference out there. So I'd lean Tennessee, but I don't know, that might be somewhere where I play like a first half, maybe Tennessee first half or something like that. I don't know. I'm just not sold on FAU, even though they won a ton of basketball games this year.
You guys see a ton of action on the Madness?
Yeah, I don't quite see the numbers the way Pat does. So I can't necessarily speak to it, but I imagine that's when it comes to college basketball, that's when we're seeing the most action, right? I mean, even the people who aren't betting college basketball throughout the year are likely getting some action in the Madness. And I imagine as we get closer to the Final Four, we'll probably see some more non-experienced basketball bettors get in the mix and get a little touch of tonight. Also, I don't know if we're going to touch on hockey. I'm probably going to get kicked off here, but I know Huss was talking about Arizona off the top of the show, and Barrett Hayton, I've been riding him 3 straight games for a point prop. I think he has points in 9 straight now. Another one last night. So just want to keep an eye on that, folks. Arizona bettors out there. Barrett Hayton on a bit of a run right now, and I've been tailing the last few. So
well, and you know what? I mean, this goes back to one of the winning picks in the exclusives that we dropped last week, and a couple of other lock shop picks. The best bet in hockey right now is Coyotes home money line. Like when they are at home, they've got like 20 wins at home. They've got 7 wins on the road. I don't know whether everyone's having a little too much fun in the area around ASU getting ready for these games, but it's been nuts. They're plus money home, the underdog almost every game, and they've can just continue to win over and over again at home. But hey, before we get off, and you kind of mentioned some of the more inexperienced bettors or people that just want to have a little bit of action, but like me, haven't paid a lot of attention to U.S. college hoops. Got some pretty cool exclusives right now, and I've just been kind of looking at as we've gone through. There's 5 different options, and I would suggest to folks, if you're having a tough time picking, if you normally like to do a little parlay, we've got 5 different options here, anywhere from like plus 225 to plus 730, Jake, with some pretty neat options for this first round of the games that usually a pretty nice number as opposed to what you get it if you just put it in on the site.
yeah, listen, I put all these together, so maybe I'll just go through them quick, the 5 here, and if there's anything that catches your guys' eye, we can talk about it. Banking on blue blood. So Michigan State, not necessarily a true blue blood, but they have been considered one of those kind of borderline blue bloods and how good they've been in the tournament. So them and UCLA both to win. I like both those teams. That's probably one that I'd ride. Plus 225. We got on the 1s and 2s. So this is both 1 seeds and 2 seeds. So there's 4 teams there: UCLA, Bama, Houston, and Texas all to win. We've got the Elite 8 secured SEC. So the 3 SEC teams remaining all to win. So that's Arkansas, Tennessee, and Bama. That one's plus 395. We have the Big East Bullies, who I just talked about. 3 teams from the Big East advance to the Sweet 16. UConn, Creighton, and Xavier all to win at plus 415. And then your bracket busters, 2 dogs that tonight will play, Arkansas and FAU, both to win at plus 730. What I would tell the people, if you're going to bet these exclusives, I wouldn't just blindly bet all 5. I decide which ones you like and then figure out who's playing who. So UConn is playing Arkansas, so you probably don't want to take the Big East Bullies and the SEC one, because one of them is going to lose. If one wins, one's definitely going to lose, right? So just keep an eye on who these teams are playing. I just obviously try to put some stuff together that makes sense, that makes it easy for people to understand. But yeah, a lot of fun exclusives on top of a ton of NHL stuff tonight. I'm sure you guys will get to. Us as an exclusive. So.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't mind that. I mean, honestly, we've seen there's always a few kind of crazy upsets early on, but now is the time, and this weekend in particular, it seems where the cream sort of really establishes itself as legit contenders to get to the Final Four. If you do like that, you want to go with the teams that were seated there for a reason. The 1s and 2s ones is pretty good at plus 385. And again, these teams don't need to cover, but they're pretty much all favorites. They just need to win their games.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know, Huss. I'm sure you guys might peek over it, but I don't know if you saw in the lock shop section today. We also have Hustler's Nightmare, Preds, Flames, and Ducks all to win. So that one I didn't make as subtle as last week when you messaged me and said you're just spitting in my face, but this one I just put right out there for you. So.
Yeah, you know what? It's far better if you do that. The Hustler's Nightmare, Preds, Calgary, and Anaheim to win. Who knows what's going on in this scale race right now?
11-1.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, you know what? If you watched, the Jets were up 2-0 against the Coyotes after the first period, and then were outshot 18-3 in the second period. Like, it was the least confidence building win for a team that absolutely had to have a win. And Rick Bowness had some real interesting comments yesterday. I guess, we never really know what we're going to see from this Jets team right now. I mean, they certainly control their own destiny. They've still got a very good chance of making the playoffs, but this upcoming 3-game road trip starting tonight in Anaheim is probably going to determine how things look in those final couple of weeks of the season, because Calgary finishes with 6 teams below the playoff line and the Jets in their final 7 games. So this is a game they got to have it. I will not be betting that one, folks, but I wouldn't blame you if you did tonight. The Calgary-Vegas is a real interesting game, and we can't forget Calgary putting a hurting on Vegas 7-2 last week when they played in Sin City, and now this game back. And Calgary, back to our comment about desperate teams, I mean, they have to get wins right now to at least be in the mix in those final 2 weeks of the season, to make that game in Winnipeg count, and to maybe take advantage of a tougher schedule for the Jets in the last 5-6 games of the year.
Yeah, it's funny when we were putting together the exclusives for tonight, and Pat was trying to get one for the Jets because obviously you had your own like the three money line parlays that you've been doing lately. So Pat's putting one together, and he's like, man, like their big guys have been bad lately. I'm like, they're not, like they have not been good. Like I feel for us right now because it must be tough to watch. Like you said the other night, like they go up 2-0 and then it's just like, they're just holding on for dear life. Right. So
I mean, this is a team, I mean, and that's what they're doing in the playoffs. I mean, they were first place in the Western Conference on the 17th of January. And
crazy.
They've been, I mean, bottom 5 team in the league for the better part of the last 8 weeks. Yeah. So we'll see what we get. Bones yesterday, at one of the wildest comments I've heard from a coach in a long time. He was being asked about, needing to motivate the players. And then, it was sort of brought up that, players at this point of the season should be able to motivate themselves with everything that's on the line. And the reporter, Scott Billick, said, so why do you think that is the case, that you're needing to do that? And he just said, this is what we're dealing with. I mean, it's
not ideal.
Wild. So anyways, I won't hold it against you guys if you jump on the Huss Nightmare exclusive, but I've got my own one. Jets are still on the suspended list. I can't mush them anymore this season. We need playoff hockey here in Winnipeg, so we'll get to that in a minute. But Jake, this is good stuff. I'm going to get on a couple of these exclusives for the weekend and then see what happens on the hardcourt.
Yeah, boys, enjoy.
All right, see you later, Matt. There you go. That is Jake Bolin Moss from Coolbet. You can find him on Twitter at Jake Bolin Moss. Husk, let's just finish up with our plays tonight in March Madness. I've got a game I saw earlier. You've got a game. To be honest with you, after hearing Jake's picks, I don't think he's going to like either of our plays. But where are you going?
Well, and again, I say this from a far less educated point of view than Jake, but one team that I bet on twice that I had success with and really liked the way they looked was Kansas State. And they're playing against Michigan State tonight in a game that is very, very close. Minus 1.5 for Michigan State. And I kind of think that Michigan's just getting the reputation bump here. Listen, they're here. Like I was on Marquette against them in the round of 32, and they couldn't make a shot. That was a really disappointing game. Now, we heard a lot about the experience of Michigan State against sort of the young talent of Marquette, and that did come through. All I know is that I loved what K-State was able to do in those last couple of games. I think they're live right now, and I got them at plus 110 a little earlier. That's come down a bit to plus 106. But, a nice tight game like that, a fun money line bet where you don't need to worry about the spread. I was sort of married to K-State, so I'm going to keep riding on them tonight. That's the early game, 5:30 Winnipeg time, 4:30 Edmonton time. So get your picks in if you want to get in on that game.
And nothing against Jake's family and their ties to Arkansas, but I'm going to be on UConn tonight. The line right now is sitting at 4. I moved it to 3.5. It's minus 120 at 3.5. And from what I've read on this game, I think I'd probably be, I guess it's going to sound bad because I think I might like it even up a little bit more. I'm just trying to get a safer play to get a win on the hardcourt here. Some places I've looked at have UConn maybe is up to like 5 or 6 is what they could win by. The line's sitting at a better place than where maybe it should be. Read 2 articles on this today, and the pro UConn crowd is looking at it from an offensive perspective, and the strengths of UConn's offense works very well against the weaknesses of Arkansas's defense, cutting offensively and things like that. So I'm gonna roll with UConn tonight. I moved it to -3.5 at -120. And remember, for all the basketball, whatever it is, you can go and adjust the spread a few points here or there. So that's what I ended up going with tonight. 4 games tonight. I want to get in on that UCLA Gonzaga game. I'll probably be watching that one later on today. I'm just not too sure where I want to go just yet, because UCLA is banged up. If they're healthy, they might be a tournament favorite at this point, but they're not. A couple guys who are going to play are banged up. Their best player is out. They lost him at the end of the regular season. So I'm a little hesitant to get on that game just yet, but that'll probably change by tip-off tonight.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens tonight. There are 4 more games tomorrow, and we will do an episode of the Lock Shop tomorrow. I'm liking that Princeton +10. I mean, I just think that they've been so competitive. They've beaten some really good teams. How are they a double-digit underdog and the biggest underdog of them all? And maybe leaning, we'll see what the line is tomorrow on this. Maybe it gets up a little bit more. I know Houston's the higher seeded team, but Miami, Florida getting back to the Sweet 16 again after that run last year. I think they're a pretty live dog right now, and they're 7.5-point favorites. So we'll lock something in for tomorrow's Lock Shop, but 4 games tonight and all those exclusives. Make sure you get them in before tip-off tonight if you want to get in on the madness.
We'll get to hockey in just a second. Let's talk match play here. Huss, you got a parlay for today's action, the afternoon matches?
I do, yes. The Lock Shop Afternoon Delight. Because if you're watching with us live right now, we're in the middle of the matchups. But I've got 3 this afternoon. Let me just get back up to the. It's kind of one of those weird weekends with 2 tournaments. You have to keep going back and forth between the Punta Cana to it. Just looking right now, Tony Fino's up 2-0, and the one guy that has so disappointed me, Will Zalatoris. I mean, he's got the putting yips right now. I don't know what to say. I thought he'd come back much better playing against Harris English. He should wipe
English
the floor with
right
Harris
now.
English. He's getting pumped 4-0. I mean, it was down 2 after 8. I thought, okay, maybe something will happen at the turn. He's just lost the last couple. So this afternoon, 3 picks. These are some of the latest ones. I think 2:40 Winnipeg time is the first tee off. Russell Henley going up against Griffin at -132. We're going to jump on Henley. Keegan Bradley had a crazy matchup yesterday, winning 4 of the final holes to come back from 4 down to half the match. He's going up against Scott Stallings. I think he keeps it going at -135. And then Hollywood Hoagie, Tom Hoagie, he was brutal on the front 9 and then went on a birdie binge on the back. I think he's in a good spot. He's a little bit of he's a slight favorite against Cam Davis. So I put those 3 guys together. Henley -132, Bradley -135, Hoagie -135 on a parlay at +433. And again, 2:40 Central is when that Griffin Henley matchup goes off. So if you do want to get the parlay, jump on it. Or if you just want to, if you're just looking for a pick on a match to follow while you're at work this afternoon, Keegan Bradley and Tom Hoagie as well.
I kept it simple today. The only one I locked in so far, I might get in on this one with you too, but I'm just on Xander and Rory on a parlay that does actually get you +128. Xander Schauffele was excellent yesterday, and it took Rory a little while to kind of close out. What was Xander, 4-3? Like, he cruised, and it took Rory a little bit to lock it down, but I don't think that was ever really in doubt. So I like both of those guys to win again today, and you can get plus money on both of them at +128 in just a little 2-match parlay. All right, let's dive in to the National Hockey League tonight. And here's where we're going. Now, I will say, I have to deliver a play of the day winner today. It's been 0 for 3 week again, despite the fact that of Monday and Tuesday in the Lock Shop, I hit 2 3-gamers. So I've been delivering these like +453 gamers, but can't pick a single game to save my life. So maybe I just end up taking one of these plays tonight and go with it and see what happens just to get a dub. But Huss, where are you going? This one's available as an exclusive, right? Got a little bit of a cool bet bump there.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, looking around, I mean, sometimes we dabble in totals and single picks. But I mean, my favorite thing is just to pick money lines because, of course, I mean, even if you get to OT, you can win it in OT, you can win it in a shootout. Let's start off with the Dallas Stars against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I know said how impressed I was with Pittsburgh against Ottawa and how well they played last night against Colorado. That being said, this is their third game in 4 nights. They played last night, a tough game against Colorado. They're traveling and taking on a Dallas team that's rested and is still focused on staying in first place and they got a big opportunity to get points against Pittsburgh when the Avalanche didn't. So Dallas at -160 is on the card. And then the Tampa Bay Lightning are in Ottawa to take on the Senators. This number's actually gone down a little bit. And the reason for that is that Vasilevsky won't be playing. It will be Brian Elliott. That being said, the Senators have been so up and down. They had no business even being in that game with Pittsburgh earlier this week. But it was their young goaltender that basically stole the game for them. Brian Elliott does make me a little more nervous about this pick than not having Vasilevsky. But we've seen the Lightning struggle in the past few weeks. They need to get their game ready for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think we'll see a far more focused Lightning team than a Sens team that I think realistically knows that their playoff hopes are pretty much vanished right now. So Tampa, it's -139 right now, even a bit better of a number. And then the final game on the card is going to be the Vancouver Canucks at home against the San Jose Sharks. I mean, the Sharks are right there for the worst record in the entire league. And Vancouver, I know a lot of people have sort of stopped paying attention to Vancouver. The games are so late. They're over on the West Coast. They're out of it. They don't matter. The Canucks have been playing really well. They had a 5 or 6 game win streak that was snapped in a 1-goal loss against, guess who? You know it, the Arizona Coyotes at Mullet Arena last week. I think Rick Tocchet's done a great job kind of focusing this team on the task at hand, coming together, working for next year. I don't think they shit the bed at home and lose to a terrible team like the San Jose Sharks. So I do like the Vancouver Canucks in this game tonight. If you were just going to put it in, well, originally it was about 340 something. It's now with the better number on the Lightning plus 350. However, if you head over to the Coolbet exclusives and click on Lock Shop Partner Parlays, ignore the Hustlers Nightmare one with Calgary and Anaheim, and just jump on Ride with Us, Lightning, Stars, and Canucks all to win. It's in at plus 375. And just a funny story about the Hustlers Nightmare. There was a exclusive the other day that had Calgary to win, Nashville to win, and one other team. And basically, I think whoever the Jets were playing to lose. And I'm like, guys, what are you trying to do to me here? So anyway, they just owned it right now. And this is big if you're a Flames backer or a Preds backer. I think that's what you want to have happen right now. So it's all there right now. But Dallas, Vancouver, and Tampa Bay are my picks tonight, juiced up at plus 375 at the Coolbet exclusives.
Mine's a plus 381 parlay if you want to put them all together. New York and Carolina, huge game between these two teams. They played on Tuesday and ended up being a 3-2 final. Both goaltenders played very well in that game. This line is actually set at 6, but I like to move things around a little bit. So for a parlay purposes, plus 381 to get it to plus 381. Move this to minus 140 to cover. You're still winning a 4-2 hockey game, which I think is probably the highest type of scoring game that we'll see between these two teams. So Carolina Rangers under 6.5. Big game for Seattle tonight. Like the 3 teams ahead of them in the Pacific right now aren't losing. Like the Oilers are 9-2 in their last 11. The Golden Knights have won 9 of 11. The Los Angeles Kings are 8-0-2 in their last 10. And Seattle hasn't been playing poorly, but they're starting to fall behind a little bit. So if they want to avoid a wild card matchup with either whoever wins the Pacific or maybe Colorado, if they track down top spot there, they have to get back into the thick of it here. And they're not far out right now. They're a resilient group. We just saw what they did against Dallas earlier in the week. Like, managed to pull that one off and win it. They get Nashville tonight. Nashville just put 7 by the Buffalo Sabres. But prior to that, they'd lost 3 in a row. And Seattle has only won 2 of their last 6. But but Seattle, watched them against the Oilers recently, and they're a good hockey team. Like, they have some goaltending issues, which is always a little bit of a concern, but Seattle's a good team. I think they find a way tonight at minus 139 on the road. And then the Vegas-Calgary game is an interesting one. Calgary pumped them, but then Calgary got pumped by the Kings, who are on that same level of the Golden Knights. So I wanted to get on this, tried to find a way to get it into a parlay. And I'm going to go with Vegas over 2.5 goals at minus 158. And yes, in case you were wondering, Markstrom is starting tonight for the Calgary Flames. We saw what happened last time Markstrom was between the pipes, and it was not good. So a little bit of turmoil there with Calgary. I don't hate Vegas. I don't hate Vegas as a plus money underdog on the money line. Like, that's pretty good value against a Flames team that just continually shits the bed. And Vegas has been near automatic as of late. But I think the safest play is probably Vegas over 2.5, minus 158. Now, Markstrom has screwed me once this season already. Remember, he had the best game of the year?
The Minnesota game.
Yeah. That sucked. So maybe he does it again, but I don't think so. So Vegas over 2.5 goals. Rangers, Canes under 6.5. Seattle money line plus 381. And let's make it 3 for 3 on these 3 gamers this week. That would be nice.
Yeah, I don't think that Bruce Cassidy isn't reminding them about getting worked 7-2 at home by the Flames just what about less than 10 days ago. So this is a big game, massive game for Calgary. And funny enough, that game, it's very rare that the Jets actually are dropping the puck after the Calgary Flames do. But with the Jets in Anaheim to take on the Ducks, Jets, by the way, minus 231 favorites. You've got the we'll kind of have a good idea about what's happening in that game before the puck drops for Winnipeg and Anaheim that just after 9 p.m. our time tonight.
All right, that's going to do it for a Thursday episode, a busy Thursday episode of The Lock Shop. We'll be back again tomorrow. More NHL action, more March Madness action, and anything else that kind of tickles our fancy heading into the weekend here as well, Huss.
Yeah, you know what? And by the way, I did have a couple lock shoppers send me DMs about picks for the match play earlier today. Pay attention to my Twitter feed at Hustlerama, because there will be some matches going off tomorrow morning in the match play. And if I do have any picks that I like, or maybe a little parlay, I'll probably just tweet it out. So if you're wondering what I'm up to for round 3 of the match play, check the Twitter feed. And I'll come locked and loaded with another Lock Shop afternoon delight for the late matches tomorrow. So hit us up, same time, right around noon Central. We'll get into it for a big one heading into the weekend.
Jake quickly with a text says, don't hate K-State, Huss. UConn makes me sick, though, Dusty. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Sorry, Jake. Huss, we'll talk tomorrow, man.
You got it, man.